I'd like to welcome everyone to the Lynn Community Association's Forum for Mayoral Candidates for the City of Lynn. We appreciate your taking the time out of your busy night to come and be with us. And we're really going high-tech tonight. We not only have microphones, but we also have a projector to put the questions up so that hopefully everyone can see those if they need to refer back to them. We would like to welcome our debate candidates. We have Judith Flanagan Kennedy. We have John Timothy Phelan, We have some representatives from the press with us tonight, and if I miss you, just let me know at the end because we did have a press sign-in sheet. You might have missed it. We have Lou Markakis, and he's with the North Shore Television. North Shore. And we have Sarah Jackson with Lynn Happens. Seth couldn't be with us tonight because he had to go to another debate somewhere. We have Brittany Gorski with Lynn Cam TV. Franklin Duncan with El Mundo. George Ferguson with The Daily Item. And did I miss any press? Okay, great. We also have a few other candidates for office and officials in the room. We have Paul Crowley here, who is Melissa Romaniello, who is a school committee candidate. Clay Walsh, who is a candidate for at-large. Donna Capola, who is Maria Carrasco, and Miguel Funes, who is at-large. And I'm pretty sure I saw Rick Starberg in the room. Committee person and a candidate for re-election as well. Did I miss anyone?
Charlie Gallo. Charlie Gallo.
All right. Now, if you are a member of the Lynn Community Association Board, if you would please stand up and wave your hand. You're already standing. And who am I missing? Anyone? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, Duncan Maitland and Douglas Maitland. Okay. Well, I am so happy to have so many of you here tonight. I'm pretty sure this is going to be an interesting evening. And I would like now to introduce our moderator and timekeeper, Tom Sheehan, who is one of our founding board members. The mission of the Lynn Community Association is to promote pride and ownership in the Lynn community through beautification, education, recreation, and neighborly relationships. We do not endorse any candidate for any office. Our purpose in presenting these forums is so that the voters of Lynn can learn about all of the candidates and make a more informed choice for their city government and school officials. And now I will ask Mr. Sheehan to present the rules of the debate and proceed.
Thanks, Mary. It's just an honor and a privilege to be asked to moderate this debate again. We started 4 years ago, and the title of that debate was, "What is your vision for a revitalized Lynn?" And judging from the energy in this room, I'd say we accomplished that. Here are the debate rules, and Stephen Dwyer is our timekeeper. He's in the green shirt up front. Each candidate will be allowed 5 minutes for introductions. Candidates will present in order by a coin toss. One will be heads, one will be tails. A yellow flag will be displayed by the timekeeper 15 seconds before time is up. A red flag will be displayed when time has ended. Moderator, me, will ask questions which have been submitted anonymously by voters in the community. I'm a little nervous here, so here we go. The first question will go to the candidate whose introduction was second. Further questions will then rotate between candidates to answer first. Each candidate will have up to 3 minutes to answer each question. Candidates will be allowed up to 2 minutes to respond or rebut statements by content, in addition to his or her 3 minutes. Following approximately 75 minutes of debate, each candidate will be allowed 3 minutes to make his or her closing statement. Coin toss will determine which candidate is first with presenting closing remarks. Candidates who do not respect timekeeping rules may be disqualified from participating in the remainder of the debate. Yellow, red flag timekeeping will apply throughout. So I'd just like to remind everybody to turn off your cell phones or silence them and hold your applause to a minimum so the candidates can speak as much as possible. And Stephen, will you toss the coin? Mayor Kennedy will do heads. Mr. Phelan will be tails. Okay, Mr. Phelan, you will go first with your opening remarks.
Yes.
Thank you, Tom. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Mary, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here as a candidate seeking the office of mayor. I'd also like to give a special thanks to my wife, Stacy, who's here today, and my daughter, Megan, who didn't know that I was going to embarrass her. But I grew up in Lynn. I'm born and raised in the city of Lynn. My family's been in the city of Lynn since about 1800. My family has decided to stay in the city because we love the city. I grew up right around the corner on Kings Beach Road. I lived there all the way through college until I got married and decided to have children with my wife. My parents lived there for over 45 years. I went to the Brickett School right around the corner. I went to Easton Junior High School when it was still named Easton Junior High School, and Lynn English High School. I went on to Providence College and New England School of Law. I'm a practicing attorney. I am a former prosecutor in the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office. I worked as an attorney for Neighborhood Legal Services in Lynn. I've been a substitute school teacher in the Lynn Public School System, a tutor for North Shore Community College. I'm a member of the American Bar Association, the United States Federal District Court, the United States Court of Military Appeals. I think in the information you can see a wide range of civic organizations that I've been involved with over the years. I was a former member of the Lynn School Committee for 4 years and been on the Lynn City Council for 18 years and been the president since 2006. When I stand here tonight, I'm humbled by both you and the task before me. I'm grateful for the opportunity that this great city gives me to seek public office, yet mindful of the challenges that we face together as a city. And it's a difficult but noble task to move our growing city forward. But with a growing city comes growing responsibilities. Over the years as an elected official, I have intentionally and deliberately not become affiliated with any independent organization, with any group, with any association, because I've always wanted to remain independent. I'm beholden to nobody except the people of the city of Lynn. One of the most daunting tasks that any parent has is raising children. And when I raise my children, you try to teach them to make good choices. But regardless of what you tell them, they're exposed to outside elements. Riding the bus, going to school, playing soccer, other people's opinions. So you hope they make good choices, what you learn from. As an elected official, I practice what I preach. I've always chosen accomplishment over personal goals, integrity over political correctness, education over bureaucracy, and unity over division. I've held these principles dear to my heart since I've been a member of the school committee and city council. I have a lengthy record of being energetic and passionate, and one of accomplishment and commitment. In the 22 years I've been an elected official, I have never missed a regular school committee meeting or city council meeting. I read the newspaper a few months ago when I decided to seek office, and somebody was quoted in the newspaper saying, this race is going to be about the past accomplishment of the candidates. And I did what anybody would initially do, and I started making a list, going through all my background. What did I do? What did I not do? And I thought about it for a second, and I said, that's archaic thinking. That's old thinking. That's not the right way of thinking, because this race should not be about the past. It should be about the future. The future of our city, and who can and should lead us. Because the best way to create the future, or the best way to predict the future, is to create it. My mother once said to me, regardless of what people say, how many times they say it or how loud they say it, make sure it passes the eyeball test. Make sure that when your eyes are open, that you're truly seeing. And I see a city that I love, with potential, with a foundation in place, but still in first gear, when we should be in fourth gear. We have to stop patting ourselves on the back for our partial successes, or what we have now will be a fleeting glimpse of what should have been. I love the fact that we moved the power lines from the waterfront over 5 to 6 years ago, but nothing's happened since. So we have to ask the question, why? We need to be innovative and creative. We need to have a vision for the city. Not only do we want people to give them a reason to visit the city, make it a hip location, a cool spot to go, but we want to give them a reason to live here. I know that a lot of people have taken on this task before, but I am determined to make our city great and be the last one to do it. Thank you.
Having taken office in January 2010. I'd like to first of all thank the Lynn Community Association and Mary and Tom for all the work they're doing on this debate we have done in debates past. I'd also like to thank all of you in the audience for taking time out of your schedules to come and hear our points of view tonight. And a particular thank you to my supporters who gave me such a warm welcome outside on the way in. I appreciate that. For those of you who really don't know me very well, let me give you a basic background. And I often refer to myself as Councilor Taylor's counterpart from West Lynn. We are both approximately the same age. Happy birthday, Tim. I was born July 20th, and he was born in August, so he's 2 weeks younger than I am. Anyway, I grew up in West Lynn. I went to the public schools, Lincoln School Elementary, Lee Junior High School, and I graduated from Lynn Classical High School in 1980. Then I went to Tufts, where I graduated magna cum laude with a double major in psychology and classical studies. And from there I went on to the University of Pennsylvania Law School, where I graduated in 1987. I practiced law for 14 years, and then when my children were starting to get active, I decided I was not going to commute to my firm in Braintree, but I wanted to stay around Lynn so I could be around home with my children. Now, I can't even believe it, but my son Colin is 17 years old, and my daughter Lynn in the audience is 15 years old. Colin is a senior at Lynn English High School, and Mia is a sophomore at Lynn English High School. My husband Kevin, who I've been married to for almost 19 years, is also in the audience. I entered Lynn politics in 1991 as a writing candidate for school committee, and I served on the school committee for 3 terms. After that, I went to the city council, and I was elected as a councilor at large, first of my 5 terms that I served on that body. And then in 2009, I ran a write-in campaign for mayor, and eventually was successful in that endeavor, and I've served in that capacity since 2010. So my first term did not get off to a very auspicious start financially. I was given only $350,000 in reserve funds. Now, as you hear during the course of tonight, I was able to build that up to over $16 million in free cash over the course of the 4 years. But my starting point was $350,000. Then 2 days after I took office, on January 6, 2010, I got a notice from the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts. That's the SJC, it's the court of last resort. They informed me that the city of Lynn had lost its appeal on a case that involved police officers and back pay, and that I owed the police $400,000. So things were not looking so great for me at the beginning. Health insurance costs were out of control. Contracts were just being renewed without being put out to bid to see if we could get better bang for our buck, so to speak. And I didn't have a mentor to turn to. Mayor Clancy was not happy that he had been unseated after 8 years in office, so I couldn't turn to him. And Mayor McManus, who had served 5 terms prior to that as mayor, had passed away. So I really did have to figure a lot of this out on my own. But I think in a way that was a good thing because I didn't have somebody else's rules to play by. I got to create my own rules. So one of the first things I tackled was the health insurance. We were able to impact bargain with all of the unions in the city, and we saved about $4 million that first year on the city's health insurance costs. And we have continued to keep that cost low by continuing along with that arrangement to present day. I have also been able to make some really smart financial choices so that the city has had a balanced budget for the last 4 years. We have not had any layoffs for the last 4 years. And we, as I said, at one point had over $16 million in free cash. Some of that was used to reduce the tax levy. A lot of it went to schools, which I'm sure will come up later on in the debate. As far as quality of life things, we have worked on everything from reverse 911, which we didn't have before I took office, to a dog park, which we didn't have before I took office, to an automated trash system, which is going to be implemented at the beginning of next year, to businesses like Kettle Cuisine and Market Basket coming in, and I have been flagged. So I would thank you all once again for attending, and I look forward to a great night.
Just to remind everybody, we ask you to hold your applause till the end of the debate. The first question will go to Mayor Kennedy first. Currently, there are approximately 600 housing units for sale in the city. What would you do as mayor in order to make Lynn more attractive to those looking to buy a home in this area?
Well, I think we've already done a number of things to make Lynn more attractive. As I had mentioned, we already have the dog park there for people who like dogs. We have refurbished the Lynn Shore Drive area. The Walter J. Boverini walkway has been put in with mile markers and so forth. We have the splash pad at Glass Pond. We have just gotten a $400,000 grant to refurbish McManus Field over by Lynn Tech, and we're going to be adding a second splash pad over there. We have also gone and put in a new market basket, as many of you know, and that is something that had been lacking in the West Lynn area. We have also really boosted the auditorium as a place for Lynners and others to come and enjoy themselves in the evening. So we have air conditioning in there now, which enabled us to put the shows on 12 months a year as opposed to the 8 months a year that we had prior to that. With regard to promoting the city directly, we've actually done 2 promo spots that were aired nationally in one case and regionally in the other case. Chronicle came by and did a nice piece on the city of Lynn, showing how we had the woods, how we had some eccentric characters that live here, how we had the beach, and really did a good job at buffing up the city's image a little bit. And we also paid for a show called Viewpoints with Terry Bradshaw. It's like a travelogue, and it's a 5-minute piece that was aired in 15 different markets nationally that also showed Lynn in a very good light. And I think that makes us look more attractive to potential buyers in the city. And I think most importantly, I travel out throughout the region. I want to be an ambassador for the city of Lynn as well as the mayor. I like to tell people how nice it is to live here. I like to tell people it's one of the best kept secrets. We try to tell people that Lynn has a bad reputation in some spots because we want to keep it all to ourselves. But I think that over time, we have seen a number of people who are moving here because they want to live here, not because their families have lived here for generations. If you look at the downtown loft people, they have really been a stimulus toward this city and its residential vibrancy. Those people who have outgrown their lofts continue to stay in Lynn because they want to stay in Lynn. And I thank them for that. It has become a really integral part of the fabric of our community. And I think with word of mouth and sometimes word of Terry Bradshaw, we're able to get the word out that Lynn is a very good place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I have a different perspective of that question. What I know, the people that I graduated high school with, when they were seeking a place to raise their family, and they were looking to buy a home, and they were driving from neighborhood to neighborhood, the first question that I asked, and the first question that they asked a young family is, how is the education in the city? And we have 600 units, according to that question, housing units available right now. The backbone of any city is a city that has families stay generation after generation. What you don't want is you don't want somebody that's raised in the city to move out of the city. Someone that was born in the Highlands, or born in Ward 1, or born in Veterans Village, and went to Lynn Classical, buying a home in Peabody, buying a home in Salem. You know, somebody told me a couple of weeks ago that, you know, there's a Facebook page. You should check it out, Former Lynners. You know, and it was supposed to be a positive thing, but to me, I didn't look at that as a positive thing. Maybe that's the way they keep in touch. If you want people to stay in the city, we have to improve the education in our school system, and we have to build that infrastructure from the bottom up. Because that's the first thing people ask, and that's how you get people to stay. And we can, with all due respect, market, advertise, you know, put videos out with, you know, Terry Bradshaw, which is nice, but people aren't going to buy in the city because they see a slogan someplace. They're going to buy in the city because they want to live here, and there are good reasons to live here. Thank you.
Now, the rules say that you have a chance to rebut that.
But I'd just like to point out to Councilor Phelan that when we graduated high school, that was 33 years ago. And there were a lot of reasons to move out of Lynn 33 years ago. And I think that a lot of those reasons are beginning to disappear. The crime rate is down 4% this year as of December of 2012, and the Lynn Police Report on Major Crimes in the City of Lynn. I attribute a lot of that to beefing up the police force again. We had been at around 163 uniformed officers when I took office. We're now up to 190. We now have SROs in all of the middle schools, and we now have CLTs, the bike police. They're in every sector of the city. We've had a lot of help with the gang advocates, not gang advocates, but anti-gang advocates, street advocates, like Antonio Gutierrez, who has been in those places where these kids are, and who have worked to straighten them out, and get them back on the right path, and get them education and training, and a means to become productive citizens. So I do agree that Councilor Phelan is correct when he says 33 years ago people were fleeing. I don't see people fleeing anymore. I see people staying here because they want to stay here. And I think that trend will continue as we keep improving the city and its image.
I also have been a big advocate of SRO officers in the school system. They really do a lot of good things for all the kids. They teach them a wide range of things. But wouldn't it be a goal to have a school system that we don't need SRO officers? That we don't have to have a police presence in our school? You know, while they do provide a needed service, and they do a great job. I know a lot of them very well, and they're talented and they're needed. But we should set goals, long-range goals, so they're not just immediate fixes. And you know, and I think that's what we have to look at now. We can't, for generations, we've always looked at things on a 2-year or a 4-year or a 5-year projection, where we really need to, the leaders of the city have to look at it on a 5 or a 10 or a 15 or a 20-year projection, because rebuilding an infrastructure of any organization, of any city, of any municipality takes time. And it's done brick by brick, neighborhood by neighborhood, and you have to keep the neighborhood safe, and you have to keep people wanting to come to the city. Thank you.
I'd like to ask once again that you keep your applause down to a minimum and give the candidates the chance to speak as much as possible. The next question will be answered by Councilor Phelan first, according to the rule. Question 2 is, looking back, what is one failure that you wish to have done differently? And what will you plan to do next about it or a similar situation?
Just one? You know, I think a city is like a sports team or a coach of a sports team. That the leaders of the city get too much credit when things go good and too much blame when things go bad, just like a coach. In a city, nothing happens individually. Nothing is accomplished by one person. No one person is at blame, or one person gets the credit for everything that's happening good in a city. You know, have I made mistakes in the past? Absolutely. You know, will I make mistakes in the future? I absolutely will. But I do them with a clear conscience when I make those decisions. I make decisions that I think are in the best interest of the people. I'm not afraid to learn from my mistakes. I'm not afraid if I had bad communication with somebody or I gave poor advice. I take constructive criticism very well. I'm not one of those people that's stubborn and will not change their mind because somebody has a better opinion. One of the things that I do as a city council president, regardless of whether I agree or I disagree, no opinion is ever suppressed on the city council floor or with the city council. I know that I'm always able to learn from anybody at all ages. I learn from my children. I do. Children unknowingly teach their parents things. You know, and that's something that I try to recognize as I grow up. You know, it's a question on the, to be honest with you, on the, immediately, I know there are many mistakes that I made, and I'll probably think of one in a moment or two, and I'll stand up and answer that. But right now, I think that's my answer.
I will cede whatever's left of my 3 minutes to Councilor Phelan so he can answer the question. However, I think one of the things that I most regret is, if you remember several years ago, we had a couple of pit bull attacks in the city, and they both took place around Memorial Day weekend. And then the council created an ordinance that would ban pit bulls and have them, well, not ban them, but have them under greater scrutiny than other dogs, and have them required to go to obedience classes and good canine citizenship classes. And I'm very big on upholding the law as it is written. And as a lawyer, I understand the Constitution, and I understand rights, and I understand when laws cross the line. In that case, My head told me that the ordinance could not pass constitutional muster, but my heart told me that people had gotten hurt by these dogs. And I struggled with that ordinance, I believe, for the full 10 days that it was on my desk, until I finally let my heart win out, and I signed the ordinance. And since that time, I've gotten to know plenty of pit bulls and pit bull owners, and if I were able to do that differently today, I think I would have vetoed that ordinance. I should not have let my heart rule my head. And as I said, I will cede the rest of my time to Council Phelan.
Thank you. I've actually thought of something in the meantime, and I'll, in full disclosure, I was actually the person that wrote and drafted the pit bull muzzle ordinance, and there were a number of horrific attacks. And through the research that I did, I was very comfortable with the having muzzles put on pit bulls out in the public, and I'm not afraid to stand by that. I know that bothers people, but I'm a principled person. That's where I stood. But looking back, I think that what I should have done with the former mayor when there was debate to the construction of Lynn Classical High School, where Lynn Classical High School was built slab on grade, where it should have gone down to pylons. Pylons, if they went down to the bedrock, we wouldn't have the ongoing and continuing problem that we have at Lynn Classical now, where we've already had an insurance settlement, I believe, of, I think it was $14 million, which we put into the school to fix, and we're going to have, for the next 30 years, need to put substantial amount of money more into that. At the time, the former mayor, this was a couple of mayors ago, indicated that he wanted to use that excess money to build the Ford Annex. And he was well-intentioned, and I wish I was more knowledgeable, spent a little more time understanding the engineering concepts, because in hindsight, because we were getting 90% reimbursement on the building of the school, 80% reimbursement on the building of the school, it would have cost us $80,000 only to avoid the problems that we've had at that time. So I should have educated myself more when it came to engineering at the time point, and I learned my lesson.